All right, how's it going, everybody? In this video, I'm gonna be making a small desktop humidor. You could even consider it a travel humidor because it's only gonna hold like 10 cigars. If you have the two trays in there that I made for it. If you took the trays out, you could probably hold 15 to 20. So I was given this wood by somebody and some SEPELLE, and it's just some offcuts from the business that they do. And so I just want to make something out of the scrap, and so that's why I'm making this small humidor. Right now I'm just milling the wood up. It came to me at about a little over an inch, and I'm just getting it nice and flat and square on all four sides. And now I'm going to resaw it. I think I got it resawed down to about 3/8 of an inch. So by resawing this wood, I'm actually making it go a lot further. You know, instead of one piece, I'm getting two out of each one. And right there, I'm just showing you the pencil marks. I'm putting it back through the planer again to remove any of the bandsaw marks. Get it nice and smooth. And getting it right down to exactly 3/8 of an inch. And now I'm just gluing up some panels out of it. Each panel is going to be 2 of those. And gluing it, clamping it. And now I'm just setting my table saw to 45 degrees, and I'm going to cut the miters on these panels. And then I'm just going to take off 4 of those pieces, and I stretched out a piece of tape, and I'm going to put the miters edge to edge, and then put some glue in between the joints. And then I'm just going to roll it up on itself and use the tape as the clamps. And then from that point, once the glue dries on these, I'm going to take the box over to my router table and use my little jig I made for splines. I used it in the last video for the dovetail splines. This time I'm just going to put just straight splines in it. And here I'm gluing up the top using 3 pieces of those offcuts. Just make sure it's got even pressure all the way across on the clamps. Clean up the glue squeeze out as much as possible. And here this is going to be the bottom, and this is just a piece of walnut that I used from another project as well. It's only about 3/16 of an inch. Make sure everything's squared up. And what I wanted to do is make sure that the box stayed square as I glued it to the bottom piece. So that's why you see that clamp going diagonal like that. And once I get it all clamped down, I can remove that clamp because it won't go anywhere. now I'm going to glue on that panel that I made for the top. Get it all clamped up all the way around. And I let that set up for about 3 or 4 hours. And once that was done, took it over to the table saw and got the little extra off and got it as close as I comfortably could to the box. So when I do take it over to the router table and use a flush trim bit, it won't have a risk of any tear out or anything. So like I said, I want to get as close as possible, but I didn't want to get so close that I might actually cut into the box. All right, here we are. I'm changing out this round over bit, put on the flush trim bit. All right, I'm just gonna go all the way around. I'll do the bottom and the top. And what I started to do, or what I did do at first, is I left one of those lips on the top of the lid. I want to try to just make that as like a little, like what would you call it, a handle, so you could make lifting up the lid easy. But when I went to go put on the splines and put it inside into the spline jig, it caused me some problems. So I had to go back and go ahead and trim that lip off as well, because I couldn't get it to fit into the jig. Here I did, as you can see, but in a moment I'm gonna realize, oops, I ain't gonna be able to do that. This is about the moment that I figure that out, and I had to delete that idea. And here I'm just milling up a piece of walnut to do the splines. And here you can see now I'm taking those little pieces of walnut that I made for the splines and I'm gluing them into place. And once again, splines are used on miter joints to strengthen up the joint, but it also, more so in this case for me, is just more decorative more than anything. Just to give some contrast in between the two different woods used. And once I get this glued up and it dries for a few hours, I'm gonna come back with my flush trim saw and kind of saw the excess off. And once again, getting as close as you can to the box, but not completely there. It's real easy for the sander to sand it down flush. And now I'm just cutting the top off. In the last video, I believe I used the bandsaw to do this. I still prefer to do it with the table saw. And here I had the garage door open, so the light's coming in behind the camera, so I apologize for that. But I'm made some more Spanish cedar panels to go on the inside to line the inside of the humidor box, and I mitered the corners, and so this way I don't have to use any clamps because once I squeeze them into those miters, those corners are keeping it nice and tight. Still use some glue though. And here I'm just getting the bottom piece to where it fits just right, nice and tight down at the bottom. Put a little glue on there and push it down. There you go, there's that. And now I'm putting some extra scraps on the top of the lid as well. Putting it in the top of the lid is not really necessary, but I had those scrap pieces, so I wanted to use them, and that was a good place for them. Now I've got my dado stack in, and I'm gonna cut some rabbets on these pieces of Spanish cedar, which is gonna form the trays. And I'm gonna glue and pin nail these together. Pretty much the same way you've seen me do it in the other videos. These trays were probably a little thick for this small box, but you know, I really like the way the Spanish cedar makes the cigars smell and taste. So hey, the more Spanish cedar you got inside the box, the more the aroma is going to come off onto the cigars. So, and here I'm just taking some little slats and gluing and pinning them on. And now I'm doing the same thing to the other one. And here you can see how they fit inside the box. And here what I'm doing is I'm putting some little blocks down the bottom. And so what this does is you can put the trays in there and they're lifted off the bottom. So I can, or anyone who uses this can put a Yumi pack, which is what's used to keep the humidity at the right humidity inside the humidor. And that way it's just room down at the bottom and the cigar basket can start sitting directly on top of it. And now I'm just putting the finish on. And the finish I'm using here is shellac. And this is probably about a 50-50 cut. Denatured alcohol to shellac. And do multiple coats, probably did about 6 or 7 coats on there. And now I'm going to put the hinges on, and I'm just marking for those. And one of these days I'm going to learn to do these hinges before I actually put the the Spanish cedar liner on the inside, because it definitely would make it a lot easier if I would do that. And hopefully next time I'll remember. And I didn't get all the footage of this cutting these in. I don't know if I forgot to push the button or if I got frustrated. I don't know what it was, but didn't really get the whole thing. I didn't get the part where I installed the chain in there to where it keeps the lid from opening all the way. But you'll get to see it though. Just trying to chisel out the extra material so I can get the hinges flush. And here's where I'm chiseling for the depth of the hinges, and now I'm pre-drilling for the screws that are going to go in this way, because it's so close to the edge you don't want to split the wood, which would be super easy. So I did a few things different on the editing, and you know, if y'all can tell the difference in the editing, let me know what y'all see is different and how you like it. And also right there, I put a little wax on the screws so it does go in a little bit easier. These brass screws are super easy to break. And this is where I'm gluing for that little knob right there to put on there. All right, we're coming to the end of this video. Hope y'all enjoyed this build. If y'all got any questions or comments, please leave them down below, and let me know what y'all think about it.